All right, so you know how everyone's always talking about bringing the outdoors in? Well, today we are doing a deep dive into exactly that, but with a condo twist.
It's a popular topic.
Yeah, and I've been getting tons of questions about plant care, from our listeners who are condo dwellers, apartment people,
Makes sense.
small spaces.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about everything. We'll be covering light, space, even those furry friends.
Oh, yeah, those furry friends. Got to think about the pets. And we'll talk about vacation, too. What to do when you got to leave town and you can't take your leafy friends with you.
Exactly. But before we really, dig into the nitty-gritty, I think it's important to lay down some groundwork.
Sure.
So, before you run off to the plant store and fill up your shopping cart, you need to assess your space, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Condo living, we're talking about, what, limited square footage?
Yeah.
So, the first thing you got to do is look around and think, okay, where can I actually put these plants?
Right, because you can't just have them taken over, right?
Exactly. You want them to enhance your space, not, dominate it.
Become a jungle, yeah.
Become a jungle.
That's a good point, yeah.
So I always tell people to think vertically.
Okay.
Use those walls, get some shelves, maybe some hanging planters.
Like a little vertical garden?
Exactly, like a little vertical garden.
I love that. But I got to ask, because this is something I struggle with too. Light.
Oh, yeah.
What about those of us who don't have a ton of natural light flooding into our condos?
Yeah, that's a common one. Let's face it, not all condos are blessed with these, big sunny windows, right?
No, and some of us like to keep the blinds closed, for privacy.
Exactly. But, don't despair, right? There are tons of amazing plants out there that actually prefer low light conditions.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Well, a classic one is the ZZ plant.
ZZ plant, okay.
Super low maintenance. It can tolerate, some serious neglect, even a bit of darkness.
Okay, those are the ones I need. The neglect, I can do the neglect.
Yeah, exactly. They're practically indestructible, really.
I did hear a rumor, and you can tell me if this is true or not, that they survived Chernobyl.
I've heard that too. I don't know if it's officially documented, but yeah, they're tough.
They're tough. Okay, that's good to know. So ZZ plant, for those of us like me, blackout curtains.
Blackout curtains, exactly.
Love it. So we talked about space, we talked about light, but there's another big one that I think a lot of people worry about when it comes to plants, and that's maintenance.
Yeah, I get it.
We lead busy lives, right?
Right.
Jobs, social stuff, maybe we travel a lot. Who has the time to be constantly fussing over their plants?
Yeah, you don't want to be a slave to your plants, right?
Right.
So, the good news is you don't need a green thumb or hours of free time to be a successful plant parent.
Really?
Yeah, really. It's about, choosing the right plants and then just understanding their basic needs.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What's a good example?
Well, let's take watering.
Okay, watering.
So many people overwater your plants, right?
I am guilty of this.
Yeah, it's you love your plants, so you're like, oh, I'm going to give them lots of water, right? But that can actually be a death sentence for a lot of plants.
Oh, really?
Yeah, their roots need to breathe. They need, some air.
Okay.
So a good rule of thumb is the finger test.
Finger test. Okay. Tell us about the finger test.
Yeah, it's super simple. Just stick your finger about an inch or so into the soil.
Okay.
And if it feels dry, give it a drink.
Okay.
If it's still moist, leave it alone. It can wait.
Perfect. I can handle that.
Exactly.
All right. So we talked about watering, but, let's be real for a second. Plants can be messy.
Yeah, there's no denying that.
Right. Think about it. Soil spills, leaves dropping everywhere.
Yeah, nobody wants a condo that looks like, the jungle floor, right?
Exactly.
But again, a little mess comes with the territory, but it's manageable. It's all about, just having those good habits.
Okay, so give us some tips.
Well, first of all, always use saucers under your pots.
Saucers.
Yeah, just to catch any gyps or spills.
Okay.
And then, regular cleaning goes a long way. A quick sweep every now and then, maybe wipe down those leaves if they're getting dusty.
Okay, good tips.
And if allergies are a concern,
Right.
there are certain plants that are known to be hypoallergenic.
Oh, okay.
Like orchids or ferns, for example.
Okay, so orchids and ferns for the allergy sufferers out there. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Or should I say the money tree in the room?
Yeah,
Budget.
right.
Because, plants can get dicey, right?
They can, but it's like anything else. You can definitely go overboard,
Right.
but it doesn't have to break the bank.
Okay, so give us some tips for, keeping it budget friendly.
Well, my biggest tip is start small.
Okay.
You don't need to create a full-blown indoor jungle overnight.
Right.
Start with maybe one or two plants that you really love, and then, see how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
Also, check out local nurseries. They often have like amazing deals on starter plants.
Okay, so hit up those nurseries.
Exactly.
Okay, so now I want to talk about some of the more practical stuff, because we've talked about the basics, space, light, maintenance, but there's so much more to plant care, right?
Right.
We're talking watering, fertilizing, pest control, repotting, managing humidity. It can be, a little overwhelming.
It can be a lot, yeah. But remember, you don't have to become a botanist overnight. It's about, just learning as you go and taking it one step at a time.
So let's focus on repotting for a second, because, I've definitely had plants that have outgrown their pots, and I didn't know what to do. So how do you know when it's time to repot?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. There are a few telltale signs, but one of the most obvious ones is if you see the roots starting to circle around the bottom of the pot,
Okay.
or if they're even like poking out of the drainage holes, it's definitely time for a bigger home.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, I want to talk about something that I think a lot of people are curious about, and that's air quality.
Yeah.
So, you see all these articles and headlines about how plants can purify the air, and I think a lot of condo dwellers are wondering, is this true? Can a few plants really make a difference in my small space?
It's a good question. And it's kind of a mixed bag, really. I
Huh.
mean, while it's true that plants do absorb some toxins from the air through their leaves and roots,
Okay.
the impact on overall air quality, especially in like a condo setting, is realistically pretty small.
Okay.
You'd need like a full-blown jungle to truly make a significant difference.
Okay, so it's not like a magic solution.
It's not a magic bullet, no.
Okay.
But I will say, don't discount the mental health benefits. I
Right.
mean, there's tons of research showing that being around plants reduces stress, boosts mood.
It just makes you feel good.
Exactly. And, who couldn't use a little bit of extra calm and happiness in their life, right?
Right. Okay, now let's talk about safety, especially for those of us who have furry friends at home.
Oh, yeah, pets.
Yeah, because not all plants are pet friendly, right?
Right, exactly. So it's really important to do your research before you bring any plant home.
Okay, so what's the best way to do that?
Well, the ASPCA website has a really comprehensive list of plants that are toxic and non-toxic to both cats and dogs.
Okay, so check the ASPCA website. Got it.
Yep, that's a great resource. And also, think about placement.
Placement, okay.
Hanging plants or putting plants on shelves can help keep them out of reach of those curious paws.
That's a really good tip. Now, we've talked to the practical stuff, but I also want to talk about the fun stuff.
Sure.
Because, plants can really transform a space, right?
Oh, yeah,
They add this element of life and color and
you
texture.
really do.
So any tips for incorporating plants into our condo decor in a stylish way?
Well, one thing I love to do is play around with different containers.
Okay.
Instead of just those basic plastic pots.
Right.
Get creative, maybe some vintage finds, some ceramic pots, even woven baskets.
Okay, good idea.
And here's a little fun fact for you.
Okay, I love fun facts.
Placing a large plant in a corner can actually make the room feel bigger.
Really?
It's like an optical illusion.
Wow, plant magic. I love it.
It's amazing.
But what happens when it's time to go on vacation?
Ah, yes, the vacation dilemma.
Right, because I don't want to come home to a bunch of wilted, sad-looking plants.
Nobody wants that.
So any tips for keeping them happy and healthy while we're gone?
Yeah, absolutely. For shorter trips, self-watering pots are a lifesaver.
Okay,
Or, you can always ask a friend, neighbor, family member to pop in and water them.
right.
And then, of course, there are also professional plant sitting services if you're going to be gone for like an extended period of time.
Right, so you don't have to worry.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, this has been so insightful. I have to say, I'm feeling a lot more confident about turning my little condo into a green haven.
That's great to hear.
And I might even have a few plant shopping trips planned in my future.
Perfect, perfect. But remember, start slow, choose plants that you love and that fit your lifestyle.
Right, it's not a race.
It's not a race. And, most importantly, have fun with it.
Have fun with it. That's good advice. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into condo plants. But before we go, I want to hear from you, our listeners.
Yes,
What plant are you going to bring into your home first?
good question.
Let us know. Share your pics with us on social media. We'd love to see what you choose.
We will. Say THE2.